Ladies and gents, welcome back to the Coffee and KO's recap show. And as you can see, I'm flying solo. Busy week for a lot of the guys here with the Stooges. So just going to be me here recapping. Hopefully my internet holds up. But yeah, I honestly, this was a great card. On paper, I loved every single fight. I knew it was going to be a good card. Lots of good stuff to talk about from this card as a whole. First, obviously we always start with the main event, and our guy, we interviewed Rob Font, and I couldn't be happier. I love Garbrandt. I've liked Garbrandt for a while, but Rob Font, man, took a long time off and comes back and just has looked so good since coming back from his long layoff. And so, he gets the big win over Moraes, and I feel like people still were not respecting him. And then he comes out and puts on that masterful performance, outboxes someone who people consider one of the best boxers in the UFC, and outboxes him for 5 rounds. Didn't like Cody's game plan. Kieran and I were talking throughout the card, and, Kieran's pretty good as far as boxing, and, just didn't do anything. He stayed on his back foot the whole time, and I didn't like that game plan at all for him. He stayed on his back foot, and you saw in that fight when he's on his front foot, he's landing big shots, and then he starts backing up towards the cage. And once he let Rob lead the dance, Rob really picked him apart throughout the entire fight. So Nico asked what was the reason for the layoff. I believe he had a torn ACL. I think that's what it was. So he had a long layoff because of that. But I thought Font looked great. I'm excited to see him against a lot of the guys in that division. The only thing I didn't like, he got taken down 3-4 times by Cody, which Cody does have a wrestling background, but is obviously not known for his great wrestling, So he had landed, I think, 1 takedown in his UFC career prior to this fight. So that is something that Font will have to work on, because guys like Sandhagen, everyone in that division strikes really well and loves to strike, but Aljamain obviously has the wrestling, Jan has the wrestling, so that is something. And Rob gets up from the wrestling really well. He gets up from takedowns really well. We saw it against Moraes, and we saw it today against Garbrandt. He gets up from the takedowns great, but he needs to stuff the takedowns more, which he did as Cody got tired. That was the one thing I noticed with Cody is I think Cody gassed by like round 2, and it wasn't ungodly bad. It wasn't like he gassed, for the entire fight or was dead tired, like Barnett earlier on in the card. But he tired out fairly quick. I felt like round 2 going into round 3, he really looked much more tired. Where Rob Font, first time he had ever gone to a 4th or 5th round in his career, and looked great. Like he looked like he could have won another 2-3 rounds. I mean, he looked phenomenal. So hats off to Rob Font. It kind of sucks for him though. It sucks for the winner either way, because that division at this point, because of the Aljo and Jan play out, that division is just so backlogged to the point now you have basically Sandhagen Dillashaw is for the number 1 contender. So you have to think Font maybe gets the loser of Dillashaw Sandhagen for the number 1 contender, but then where does that leave Jan Sterling? It's that division is kind of a mess right now. I did want to say this, in my opinion, and I talked to Kieran about this a little bit too. I feel like Cody Garbrandt, and people are probably going to hate me for saying this, but I feel like Cody Garbrandt is a little overrated. If I'm being honest, I feel like he's a little overrated. He's got the big, masterful win against Dominic Cruz. Okay, one of the best performances I think of all time against a guy that was on the top of the world. Dominic Cruz was talked about as like this unbeatable guy. In comes Cody Garbrandt, puts on a masterful performance with, you got the boxing mixed with the dancing and everything, all the flash, and then that's it. Like he loses twice to Dillashaw, which again hard to count those because the EPO. Loses to Pedro Munoz, who again no slouch, but loses to him. Beats Hafiel Alves, which I like Assunção, but let's be honest, not that great. Okay, not that great. And then now just loses to Rob Font. And that's not taking anything away from Rob Font. I think he's very good and obviously belongs. I think Garbrandt belongs in the top 7 or 8 in that division, but I think that he's a little overhyped. I don't know about overrated, but I feel like he's overhyped. The odds makers got it right. Garbrandt plus 110. I think that was a valuable number, but I feel like the people on social media are all on Cody Garbrandt, and I think that Rob Font was severely underrated going into this fight, and people did not put a lot of stock into his Maurice win, which was a great performance by him. So, I love what Rob Font did. I loved his performance. Thought he did a great job. And Cody, looks like Cody is going to move to 25, which I'm interested to see. I like it because, his speed and everything is there. He's got the speed. He's got good power. How's the chin going to hold up? So the chin was great today. No questions about the chin at 35. Font hit him with one of the cleanest shots to the face with a leg kick. And Cody ate it. Cody, I don't think at any point in that fight was wobbled. So I think that the chin is there at 35. But with draining yourself to make 25, is his chin going to hold up? I don't know. And Nico says, I believe Cody has all the talent, but he's shown on multiple occasions that his fight IQ can be weak. I agree. And I don't know if that was his corner or him today. I don't know what it was. The one thing I will say about Cody that I liked today was he stayed composed. A lot of times when we've seen Cody get knocked out, it's when he gets mad and then he just goes off the rails. He completely goes off the rails and puts himself in compromising positions to get finished. And that didn't really happen today. He wore a lot of shots, but he didn't get overzealous. He didn't get mad. He didn't let his emotions play into it. I didn't think Cody fought terrible. I thought the IQ was low, like you said, Nico. I think that if he would have fought on his front foot more and led the dance, I still think Rob wins the fight, but I think it's a much closer fight. A little bit more heavy strikes landed, and I think that it's a little bit closer. In my opinion, Rob won every single round. One of the judges, I think, had it at 48-47. Don't agree with that. I think that Rob won all 5 rounds clear. I thought it was a 50-45 across the board, in my opinion. But so it looks like Cody moves to 25. Rob Font now kind of stalemate. Nico also asked how long before an interim belt. I don't know. Can you do that? Because it's tough because Aljo is. I could see it. I guess it depends on if Aljo can't come back this year. So if he's out until 2022, I can see the interim belt. If he's not, then I think that we keep it. Aljo as the champ, run it back with Sterling. So I don't know how long the healing process is for Aljamain Sterling, but we'll see what happens there. But that's all I got about the main event. And then we have Carla Esparza against Yan Xiaonan, and people were shitting all over Carla Esparza on Twitter. She's boring. She's this. Carla Esparza, a fire has been lit under her. I don't think she beats Rose or Zhang Wei Li. But man, what a performance she had tonight. An absolute just dominant performance. She pieced up Yan Xiaonan on the ground like she had no answer. Took her down right from the beginning, both rounds. Just got the fight to the ground. Yan Xiaonan had no answer. Battered her with elbows. I think Yan Xiaonan is still very, very good. But Carla Esparza is that next level right now. She looks so good in this fight and wasn't boring. She wrestled. She did what she was good at. And I'm a big component of if it's not broke, don't fix it. People will say it's boring. What did Khabib do? Khabib wrestled guys. I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Carlos Esparza, hell of a performance. One of my performances of the night. A lot of people high on Yan Xiaonan, who I think is very good and I think still has a bright future. But Carlos Esparza, seasoned vet, took her to the ground, pieced her up, elbow after elbow, and just absolutely dismantled her. And I think Esparza has to get the title shot. I think she has to. I think Zhang Wei Li needs to either take a break, rest up, and then fight for the belt again, or fight one more time. Maybe she fights Yan Xiaonan. I don't know, and then fight for the belt. So Nico says, watching this fight, I heard Kieran's voice in my head channeling angry Dana White, upset that another key player in his plan for Chinese expansion just lost. Yes, I agree. It's almost the same with Garbrandt, right? You would think Garbrandt's more marketable. People either love or hate Garbrandt. People really don't care about Rob Font. So I think that you could almost say the same for that fight. Things are not going in Dana's favor. Dana was not there tonight, so he clearly did not care. But guys, this will probably be a quick recap, by the way. You guys are probably bored. I think Nico's the only one watching right now because it's just me solo. Can't make jokes with myself. I'm not that funny solo. So, I'll do my best. The next fight, man. Oh my God. Vanderaa, Justin Tafa. Those of you that listen to the preview show know I cannot stand Jared Vanderaa. Oh my goodness, man. Look, he looked good tonight. He did. His striking today. And this is the thing with Vanderaa. He didn't have to worry about wrestling. He didn't have to worry about wrestling, and it showed. He struck so well today. Very versatile striker too. A lot of kicks for a big guy to throw that many kicks and not get tired. I mean, and bleeding the way he was with that nasty cut. His cardio looked great for 3 rounds, and Tafa's cardio looked great. But I'm going to save this fight for when we get to the segments, because I got a lot to say, kind of in a way, because I'm not high on Vanderaa at all. And then to see Tafa fight, so frustrating. Not a fan of Vanderaa. I don't think he's that great. I think he struggles against any decent heavyweight. Tafa's only got, I think that's his 7th fight in the UFC. So, I don't know. I was very disappointed with Tafa and very upset that Vanderaa won that fight. So not much else to say about that. Felicia Spencer loses to Dumont. Listen, I got a lot to say about that when we get to segments too. So give me that. Give me a minute for that. Bill Algeo, Ricardo Ramos. I'm out on Algeo, man. Good fight. It was a good fight, but I've rocked with Algeo after that Ricardo Lamas fight, right? Thought he looked great for taking that fight on short notice. He's a Philly guy. I'm from Pennsylvania. I just don't know, man. I just don't know. I feel like every time I bet on Algeo, I lose. Honestly, I thought for sure he was going to win this fight. Ricardo Ramos, only 25 years old, looked great. He looked so good. The takedowns, Algeo had no answer. The stand-up was good. I'm a little disappointed with Algeo, though. I thought that he was going to look a little better. He also looked like he gasped, where Ramos did not at all. Just a little disappointed with Algeo. But then you got Jack Hermansson, Edmund Shabazian, and this fight. How this fight was in co-main event, and this is not taking anything away from Carlos Esparza, but how this fight was in co-main event, everyone on Twitter agrees. This fight was co-main event. Like, we started with a fight night main event to kick off a fight night. Like, absolutely incredible. Hermansson, Shabazian. Round 1, we're sitting there, we're watching, and you're like, man, Shabazian looks like the truth. Like, he looks like he's really rebounded from that beating he took from Derek Brunson. The wrestling looked good. Like, as far as switching positions, he was landing heavy on Jack Hermansson. It was crazy. And then round 2 clicked and lit a fire under Jack Hermansson. and the rest was downhill for Edmen Shahbazyan. And I'll say this, Edmen Shahbazyan, 23 years old, going to be 24. He's got a long ways to go in the UFC. I don't think he's going anywhere anytime soon. It's not one of those Sage Northcutt situations because he just fought one of the best guys in that division. And he won round one outright, handedly. Looked good. And he looked improved. He looked much improved, much better than he did against Derek Brunson. But it got to the point where, and I've said this, I think Jack Hermansson is a better wrestler than Derek Brunson because of the pressure and the amount of ground and pound he throws. Derek Brunson's more of a lay and pray. Jack Hermansson's either trying to find subs or elbows or whatever. You know, he's more active on the ground. So I think that it was a tougher matchup for Edmen Shahbazyan. Hats off to him. He said, that's the fights I want. So hats off to him. I thought it was bad matchmaking, but if that's the fight he wants, whatever. I had a feeling this is how it was going to go. I was a little shocked in round one, seeing the way it was going. And Edmund stuffed the takedowns, and I was like, wow, like this is going to be tough for Jack. And Edmund looked good, and Jack kind of looked flustered. And then round two, man, oh my goodness, that was just crazy. Like I've never seen such a flip like that. It went from a clear, like Edmund clearly looked like he was going to run away with that fight to just looked bewildered the entire time in rounds 2 and 3. And it was nuts. The ground and pound was crazy. Ended up cutting open Shahbazyan. I think Shahbazyan needs to really he's going to drop in the rankings some more. He really needs to fight guys and gain experience. They're rushing him way too quick, which is going to hurt this kid. If he keeps taking damage like this, it is going to hurt this kid. He's very good. He's very talented. We all see it with the striking. I really think that he can be something. He needs to work on the ground game. He's gotten better. He looked better, but he's still got a long way to go. You can look better, and that's great, but that only goes so far, and it didn't take him too far in this fight. I mean, he got just absolutely dismantled in rounds 2 and 3, and it's got to change. It's got to change, and he needs to start fighting lower-level guys. I think he was just rushed way too quick in that division. Someone tweeted Kevin Holland, Shahbazyan. I'm all for that. I'm going to yawn. I never yawn when we have people here. It's not as fun doing this by yourself. Someone said Holland versus Shahbazyan. I love that. I think that's a great opponent to keep your name relevant. He goes out against a guy that he doesn't have to worry about takedowns and just strike. I think that is what Shahbazyan needs right now. He needs to keep working on the ground game in his camps, fight guys that he doesn't have to worry about the takedown so much, get that record up a little bit more, get that experience in the cage, and then come back. You know, I'm not out on Edmen Shahbazyan. I just think at 23 years old, he was rushed too quick. You're talking about a guy in Jack Hermansson who has fought everyone. You're talking about a guy in Derek Brunson who's fought everyone. This kid is 23 years old. All right. I think that he is good. I think the future for him is bright if the UFC takes their time and they stop giving this kid these opponents. He literally fought a tougher opponent this time after being dismantled by someone who wasn't as good as Jack Hermansson. Like, just crazy to me. We said this from the beginning. When this fight was announced, we made a video on it, basically predicting that this fight was going to end this way. I like Shahbazyan. UFC has to do a better job. But going towards Hermansson, I feel bad for him. It's almost the same situation as Rob Font. Everyone in that division currently is booked. Everyone. Paulo Costa, Jared Cannonier fighting each other. Darren Till is fighting. Robert Whittaker isn't, but he's not fighting Robert Whittaker. It's one of those divisions. It's one of the slowest divisions in the UFC, and it's just not good for Jack Hermansson. It's going to be maybe he gets the loser or the winner of Cannonier Costa, but can you move him up that fast after he beat Vettori? But Vittori's fighting for the belt. Vettori beat Hermansson. I don't know. It's right now it's tough to be Rob Font and it's tough to be Hermansson because both of those divisions are just stalemates right now. So interesting to see what happens with him. I love Jack Hermansson, one of my favorite fighters to watch. Humble guy, but man, he came out round 2 and 3, man. That was a totally different guy than in round 1. He was pissed and he was on a mission to end Shabazian's life, and he didn't get the finish. But boy, did he do everything he could to try, especially in the last couple seconds, getting full mount and just trying to murder him. Hell of a fight by Hermansson. That's the way you bounce back from a tough loss against Vettori. That is what a veteran does. And, Jack Hermansson, veteran of the sport, gotta love it. Keeps his name relevant. Shabazian, like the kid, needs to develop more. Needs to develop the wrestling, being able to get up from takedowns, stuff takedowns. The striking's already there. He just needs to clean it up a little bit, fight some guys, build that resume a little bit more, get that octagon experience, and then take on the top 10. He's not ready for that yet. He's proven it now in 2 fights in a row now. Nico says UFC taking their time. You realize what company we're talking about, right? Yes, I know. And it's almost like maybe Dana White's still holding that grudge on Ronda Rousey for leaving, taking money out of his pockets. And he's just like, screw it, I'm going to feed your boy to the wolves. I don't know. You just can't stop yawning, guys. But we're going to move to segments now. Like I said, I'm by myself, so I'm not going to sit here and talk for an hour by myself. Nico, I appreciate the love in the comments. Every week, this guy brings it. But let's get to your fire, the pink slips. I got a lot of these. Put them in the chat if you have any as well. Here we go. We are going to fire some fighters from tonight's card. I have a pretty hefty list, guys. So if you don't agree, you can put it in the comments. But I really want to give it to Hafiel Alves. So this guy, first fight of the card. Yeah, seriously. I didn't want to. So before we get to you're fired, Nico says, pour one out for Paul Felder. He's to a happy, healthy retirement. Got me right here, man. Paul Felder. It's between him and Cowboy as my favorite fighters. I can't choose between the two. I kind of lean towards Paul Felder. He's a PA guy. Crazy background. I was not expecting that tonight. And I've been seeing it on Twitter. I didn't want to believe it. He was looking skinnier, doing a lot of the triathlon stuff. But after the RDA fight, taking on 5 days notice, whatever, I'm like, yes, he's back. And he put on a hell of a fight against him. And I'm like, he's back. And then he retires tonight. Man, got me right in the heart. I love Paul Felder. It kills me. He's done. But I agree with him, man. Like, as much as I love Paul Felder, he's not competing for a belt in that division. There's no way. There's no way he beats anyone in the top 5. And I love Felder. But, that's me being an MMA fan, though, realizing that he's not going to win the belt. So what's the point of doing it? Money fights, is it yeah, the money's probably worth it, but he's got a good gig in commentary. Can't hate on him for it. Love Paul Felder. I wanted to see him fight more. At least one more fight. At least one more. Give me one more. But and yeah, Alan Jouban too. Warrior, another warrior. So those guys are done. But anyway, we're firing fighters here. First one, Hafiel Alves. I want to give it to him so bad, but he did. So Hafiel Alves, first time in the UFC, misses weight by, I think it was like 13 pounds. Decides to move. So that was at 45. Decides to move up to 55. And all right, that's fine. Looks small. The dude he fought, Ismagulov, stud. And I really wanted to give it to Alves, but he kind of made it a good fight. So in the beginning, he dropped him. I think it was kind of like a slip for Ismagulov, if I'm being honest. But then round 3, he kind of put it on him, looked fresher. So I can't fire Alves yet. I want to. I really want to. Like, if he would have gotten finished or lost that fight like really, really bad, I'm firing him without question. He probably gets one more. Probably one more. But we'll see. Claudio Silva, though, he's out. He lost to Court McGee, was tired after one round. The only thing I will give him props on, he knew he was down 2-0 and went out in round 3, balls to the wall, trying to get a finish. I respect that. But Silva, I think that's 2 in a row he's lost. He lost to James Krause, who, listen, anyone that knows, we are a Glory MMA podcast. I love James Krause, but James Krause isn't even a full-time fighter. The dude trains more fighters than he actually focuses on himself. He took that fight on short notice and beat him. So, you lose to him, and then you lose to Court McGee. I like Court McGee, but he's not great. I think Claudio Silva's done. Ben Rothwell versus Barnett. People might not like this. Sharenko, my buddy, if you're listening, I'm sorry. Ben Rothwell, man. I like Ben Rothwell. But he's old. And he was fighting a guy who I like. Chris Barnett was fun to watch until he got tired. But he was getting touched up a good amount by a guy who is a whole head shorter than him. The only thing I really liked from Rothwell tonight was the cardio. The cardio was really, really good. He didn't look tired at all. But he was getting touched up a lot. A lot. He probably gets one more fight in the UFC. But if I'm being honest, for me, if he wanted another fight in the UFC, he had to finish Chris Barnett. Chris Barnett took that fight on a week notice. In my opinion, Ben Rothwell had to finish him tonight by knockout. I feel like Chris Barnett basically submitted due to an asthma attack, if I'm being honest with you. I just wasn't impressed with Rothwell. I like Rothwell. Dude's a legend. He's been in the sport forever. He's fought everyone. I just think it's time for him to be done. I don't want to fire him. I'd rather him just retire, if I'm being honest. Don't want to fire him, but I don't think – I wasn't really impressed. He was getting touched up by a guy who's a whole head shorter than him, took the fight on a week's notice, and that's nothing against Chris Barnett, but I don't know how UFC caliber Chris Barnett is. He's exciting to watch. Everyone loves it. The hair, the body, everything, the kicks, the spinning kicks. He's athletic for a big man, no doubt. I just don't know that he's UFC caliber, and Ben Rothwell is getting touched up by him tonight. So he's gone. Yes, Nico, I do agree. I say all the time, a win always saves a heavyweight. So he'll probably get one more. Like look at Arlovsky, loses, wins, and he can lose two. If he wins one, he's gonna get another fight, and that's kind of what he's done. I'm not so sure on the Barnett fighting in Road FC. I don't know too much about his background. Aaron is the guy that does the whole regional scene stuff. I'm not really a regional scene guy. I kind of just watch UFC. Some people call me a casual. That's fine. I don't really care. Next one, people aren't going to like this either. Felicia Spencer is on my fired list. She fights in a division that's going to be dead here soon. I don't think she can make – I think she fights at 45. She's not making 35. I think it'd be a brutal weight cut for her. She loses to Norma Dumont. I've never been that impressed with Felicia Spencer. Aaron will be upset. I'm pretty sure he's a Felicia Spencer guy. I think more so she gets cut because she lost and that division is dying. Amanda Nunes has killed that division. She's just head over heels better than everyone. If Spencer could make 35 easily, I'd say she stays around. So she might stay around, but 45 to me is dead. And I I don't think that Spencer can make 35 that well. If she can, I think she'd be a problem. But yeah, coming soon to PFL's women lightweight division, Felicia Spencer. Yes, I could definitely see that. I don't think she's a bad fighter. I don't think she's bad. I'm not firing her because she's bad. I just think, 45 in the UFC, like I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of her. I'm not here to like talk crap on her. I'm not a big fan of her. And I just think that she's going to get cut. I could be wrong, but we've been pretty accurate on these. So last one, Justin Tafa. He's done. He's got to be done. They cut Yorgan De Castro, so I feel like they have to cut Justin Tafa. So the tough thing with Tafa is he's only got 7 fights. So he's 4-3. This is the thing, though. He's 4-3 in his career. Or sorry, he's 4-3. So his only win is over Juan Adams. Juan Adams is terrible. Awful. He's really bad. So he loses to Yorgan De Castro, Carlos Felipe, which I will say this. I had Tafa winning that fight. So I will say that I think that was a bullshit split decision. But then handedly gets his ass whipped by Jared Vanderaa, who I do not like. He beat Harry Hunsucker, but then got destroyed by Sergey Spivak, who I think Spivak is a stud. But Tafa just, he's 27. I think he needs to fight. And this is the thing, though. He's a heavyweight. They stick around forever. But I think that he needs to fight on a regional scene a little bit more and then maybe come back. He's only got 7 fights in his career. He's 3 in his last 3. He's 1-4. All right. He's 1-3 in his last 4. I'm just not sold on Justin Tafa. And he only had 1 amateur fight. So he's barely fought in MMA. I just think that he needs more time. 1-3 in the UFC is not good. He's getting cut. And again, your only win being Juan Adams. Not good. He's a gamer. He's strong. He punches hard. He's got a chin. But I don't like Jared Vanderaa. And Jared Vanderaa looked like a freaking world-class kickboxer tonight. So, Justin Tafa, you're a goner. All right. We're going to get to the Sheath superlatives of the night, guys. Our lone sponsor, the best sponsor, Sheath Underwear. Please go to sheathunderwear.com. Use promo code COFFEE&KOs. Get 20% off your entire purchase. It's hot out now. If you're outside doing yard work, if you're hanging with the boys outside, whatever you're doing, it gets a little wet down there. Things start sticking and chafing, and you hate it. If you have Sheath Underwear, you never have to worry about it again. Promise you that everything is going to feel nice, comfortable down there. No chafing. Chafing does not exist when you wear Sheath Underwear. So don't forget to sheath your dagger. Use promo code COFFEE&KOs. Get 20% off your entire purchase. Here we go. Sheath superlatives of the night. All right, everyone. Nico, she's superlatives of the night, guys. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna give a couple, honestly. Because normally we have 4 people doing this this recap show. So I'm gonna give three or four tonight. Jacked on caffeine performance of the night. I'm gonna go Jack Hermanson. You go down round 1, look like you're at a severe disadvantage, and then absolutely maul your opponent for the next 2 rounds. I'm going Jack Hermanson for that one. He looked great. Sucks that he's going to be in a division that's stalled currently. Nico, yes, I appreciate the love. Once people saw the funny people weren't here, they're like, I'm getting Zach off the screen. Totally cool, though. I don't care. Like I said, we do this for fun. I don't do it for money. I do it for fun. I like talking about UFC. I like getting my thoughts out there. So I'm going to do it regardless if I got co-hosts or not. I'm also giving it to Carla Esparza. Shout out to her. Shit on everyone that was tweeting about her, saying she's boring, that they hate her, that she whatever. She absolutely shit all over Yan Xiaonan. She pieced her up. It was insane. One of the best performances of the night, hands down. She just absolutely looked amazing from beginning to the till when it was stopped. Her first finish since 2014. That's crazy. That is absolutely insane. 7 years. 7 years since she's gotten a finish. Carla Esparza still got it, man. She's like, she got this new found energy. I don't know what it is, but she looked great tonight. She gets one of my awards, and I'm also giving it to Rob Font. All three of these people have something super in common. Just heck performances from beginning to end, really. Just throughout the whole fight, did what they needed to do. And Rob Font handled Cody Garbrandt, who, again, people consider widely top 2-3 boxers in the UFC. And Rob Font now just, I think he has to insert himself. He has to take Cody's spot, right? He's a better boxer. Seems it. Garbrandt looked great. Rob Font looked great tonight. Cody, chin was there. Doesn't seem like the game plan was necessarily the best. Cody's the guy that needs to lead the dance. Rob led the dance tonight and just pieced up Garbrandt from beginning to end. So those three people, Hermanson, Esparza, and Font, get my Jacked on Caffeine performances of the night. The next one, espresso shot of the night. The only really big knockout we had, Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva just, the best shot of the night. Sat down his opponent quickly. A couple extra follow-up shots. Ref calls it off. Excuse me. And he just absolutely dismantled him. So Bruno Silva, best shot of the night. That's the only one I can even really think of. There was no – it was a great card, a lot of great fights, competitive fights, not a ton of stoppages though. So Bruno Silva, though, put himself on the map. I hope he gets a bonus. That's 2 big wins in a row now for him. I really like. He had bought JP buys, and then tonight wins. I like Bruno Silva a lot. And shout out to Steve. Steve won money on Bruno Silva. So Bruno Silva gets my special shot of the night. And my decaf performance of the night, again, I have written down. I really wanted to give it to Hafiel Alves, but man, I'm going to go with Cody Garbrandt. And I don't want to be too tough on him because, like I said, I do like Garbrandt, but the game plan, it just wasn't working. The wrestling was good, but Font is not good at stuffing the takedowns, but he's very good at getting up from the takedowns. We saw that in the Moraes fight, and he did it again today. Gets taken down, but gets up fairly easy. Garbrandt kept with the takedowns. It worked in the beginning, but then as he got tired, he kept shooting, and it wasn't working. So kind of a tough scene for him. And then Font just pieces him up. Garbrandt, again, he cannot fight on his back foot. He's not. I saw what he did against the cage against Hafiel Alves. Great. That's amazing. But he is not a guy that can fight off his back foot. He has to lead the dance. He has to move forward more often. And he didn't do it. And because of that, he got pieced up. Riding the bike the whole time in that fight is not going to work. Got outboxed because of it. I didn't like the game plan at all. Mark Henry's advice was shitty. And Rob Font, if the division wasn't so stale, probably close to a title shot. At this point, who knows? But yeah, Cody Garbrandt gets my decaf performance of the night. We'll see how he looks at 25, if the chin can hold up, because I think that is definitely what is next for him, is 25. But it can't be for the belt. I don't think it can be for the belt right away. So, yeah, guys, that's going to do it. I'm sorry. It was just me tonight. Everyone, summer's here. People are getting busy. Again, this is not our full-time job. We work regular jobs. We have families, all of that great stuff. So, but you can guarantee there is going to be a recap show after every event, whether it's solo, whether it's with the group, whatever. We are here to make content for people that like to talk MMA, even if it's just Nico. I don't care if I'm in here and there's not one person here. I'm going to talk MMA. I'm going to post this, and I want people to talk about it. I want people to comment. Good, bad comments. I really don't care. I just love the conversation. I love to talk to all you guys. If you liked what you heard, please press that subscribe button. We really appreciate the support. We want the Stooges page to be a fun page for people to go get content to. And also go follow us on all social media platforms at the MMA Stooges. Constantly have content, especially on Instagram, guys. Our Instagram is loaded with fighter interviews, fighter picks, interactions with people that listen. We got fight announcements. We got odds stuff up there, our picks, tons of stuff on Instagram that we love to post. Aaron comes every week on 2 or 3 times a week talking about PFL, Bellator, UFC, all of it. So go check that out. We appreciate all the support. And we'll be back, for the next card, and we'll have more content coming out this week. Appreciate all the support, everyone. See you guys next time.